and welcome to the August rendition of Family Law Uncorked. Today I am joined here by Dori. Is it Dupre? Dupre. Okay, I saw the accent mark, so. And I brought Dori in because we here at New Direction, when someone comes to us, it is a very trying and hard and transitional time in their life. And we like to provide, clients that come in with the different resources that they might find useful in helping them through this life-changing process. Different strokes for different folks, and so we really like to do what we can to help them navigate all the emotional barriers that come with that, and the trying time that it can be. And different things work for different people. So when we find out about a cool new resource, we want to make sure that we let our audience know about it. So insert Dori, who has this awesome program that we found out called Grieve the Write Way, which WRITE. So Dori, if you don't mind, will you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about Grieving the Write Way?
Sure. My name is Dori Ann Dupre. I am mostly a writer, but I have found that I had lost my husband a couple years ago, and in my pursuit of trying to find programs that could help me face my grief process, I stumbled upon a writing program that I found was very beneficial, and so through that process, I learned a lot about my grief and how to get the grief out of myself, a lot of the pain. Mm-hmm. And through that process, you also learn that there's maybe some other reasons why you need to get some things out on paper. Sure. And it's a healthy approach to loss and grief and death, and whether the loss is any kind of loss in life. It's a very healthy approach to it, and so that's really how that's really more of my background about how I started this program specifically.
Awesome. And so we've kind of recognized over the years of working with clients in this process that the going through divorce can be very similar and can induce a very similar grieving process like death. And I know that there are a few different models out there for grieving and the different stages, but I think the one that's most commonly known are the 5 different stages of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And those are absolutely different stages that people can go through because it's still a loss. And some people have expressed that sometimes maybe, and we've talked about this before, I mentioned that some people feel like it may have been easier, right or wrong, but just given the circumstances that they're in, if maybe it was, they lost their spouse to death as opposed to divorce, because I guess it would be more finite. They wouldn't have to, deal with that person still being around. And again, it comes from a different place of hurt and a different experience, but that grieving process is still very, very real. And speaking personally, I know that I went through it, and all the help that I could get in the different avenues of expressing that was very, very helpful. So, and you touched on it a little bit of, that you're a writer first and everything. And so how did Grieving the Write Way come about? How did you develop this concept to help people?
Okay, well, it's not really my concept, but what happened is when I started attending classes like this, mm-hmm. That helped me. I'm a writer, and so it's very easy. A lot of people journal. Mm-hmm. We journal. We'll write letters. We'll keep a diary, so to speak. I was a girl. I kept lots of diaries in my time.
The dreaded diary we hope never gets discovered.
Right, that's right. We'll burn it as soon as we turn 21. But,
yeah.
But I never realized that there were other ways to tap into the grief and the pain that is inside of us. And the longer that we live, the more pain we accumulate, mm-hmm. the more losses we endure, whether they be good losses like graduating from college, or bad losses like a divorce or the loss of somebody that you love. And so there's a lot of pain that accumulates over the years. And so when I started attending these grief writing workshops, what I learned was it tapped into pain and parts of myself that I didn't necessarily know that were there. And a lot of the writing exercises they're prompts There is some journal writing and things like that in there, and letter writing, but a lot of them are prompts that help you. You don't even realize what comes out of you when you are prompted, and they're guided. So you're following and you're following instruction, or not really instruction, but a facilitation of your writing, and you'll be surprised when what comes out of you from that. And so what I realized is that there weren't very many of these workshops around anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I started referring people to workshops, and they just didn't really exist, or if they do exist, I can't find them or know about them. And I figured I certainly wasn't the only person who didn't even know that something like this existed, and that I could try to give back, because it has helped me so much by establishing my own writing workshop. And so that's pretty much how it came about. I've done some free ones through organizations that deal with death,
Mm-hmm.
and I have done some where I used to live with people that know me and know what I'm trying to do. I've done some free ones over there, and this one in Wake Tech, I reached out to Wake Tech to find out if they, in their continuing ed program or their non-credit programs, if
Mm-hmm.
they would have room for a program like this, and Wake Tech was very interested in bringing the program to them.
That's awesome.
So,
That's
yeah.
great. Yeah, I think to your point when you talked about being prompted to write, right? Some people are like, "Oh, just write it down." Well, where do you start, right? Because you're overwhelmed with all of these emotions, whatever it is, whether it's divorce, death, or it's a celebration in life, or a paper in school that you've got to start writing on. You don't know where to start, and so that in itself can be overwhelming. And so whenever your mind's already fogged with all the other parts of this that you're dealing with, the loss that you're dealing with, it can be really, really hard to get started. And I know that we were very attracted to the idea of this being a resource for people, because not everyone is as open to traditional counseling and going to, sit with a therapist. While we wholeheartedly believe in it, we also, the most important thing is that the person feels comfortable with it. And so we obviously can't drive them to the appointment for them to go see a therapist. So anything like a healthy, therapeutic mechanism to help them express this is, I think, just such a great avenue. And so with the people that you've worked with so far, have you seen changes in people as they start to write? I mean, you can probably speak to your own personal experiences as they start to write and they're prompted with these questions that they didn't even think about, but being able to, just get that information out or that feeling out.
Right. Most of the time when I do these programs, and there's one particular exercise it's a long exercise, and it requires you to do a lot of emotional work that you don't realize you're doing in the moment. And then when it's over, when you get through the exercise, a lot of people have said, that was exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, maybe exercising, you don't realize just how tired you are until you're done doing it.
Yeah.
But it's such a great relief
Mm-hmm.
that you were able to get all of that out on a piece of paper. One of the parts of the program that I do is, people can share at the end of the exercise. They can share what they wrote, and a lot of people don't want to, and that's fine. You don't have to share anything. But some people like to express verbally in words in front of people what their work product was from this. And what I try to tell people is that grief needs a voice. And whether that voice is on a piece of paper and it's kept in a storage closet somewhere, or is spoken out loud, it needs a voice. And nothing that comes from you is wrong. It just needs to be put out there in some way, shape, or form, and in a healthy way. Which is what writing is. It's a healthy way to remove what is inside and put it out there and give it a voice.
I just think that's great. I think, not that the world starts and stops with me by any means, but, sometimes we've all been there where we're just so strongly convicted about something, whether it's anger or you're on your soapbox about something, or if it's grief, if it's sadness, if it's hurt, but you don't want to, feel like you're inconveniencing someone by, talking to them about it, or sometimes I know here clients will get angry about something that the other parent or their former spouse is doing, and so we tell them, one of our paralegals here is great. She's like, get angry with me, don't reach out to your spouse and get angry with them, because a lot of times the anger is stemming from hurt and the change in the life that they're experiencing. And so this is just such a great avenue to me to help someone figure out how to write that down, and again, how to get started with that so that they are heard. I like how you said that grief needs a voice, so that you can give your grief and that emotional strife that voice to get it out and get it off your chest. I think people are like, writing, how is that going to help me feel better? But it does. It really does. When I know a therapist one time I heard give great advice of, writing, a goodbye letter, or whatever it may be, just write it down. And I was like, we're going to start with this, and I did it. And as soon as I couldn't sleep that night because it was on my mind, I hadn't felt really convicted to do it yet. And then I felt I couldn't sleep, and I felt strong enough to do it, and I wrote it down, and I was able to go to sleep. I read it out loud, and then I was able to go to sleep. And so it's amazing to me how that works. So you mentioned the Wake Tech workshop. So I want to get to the details of that in just a second.
Okay.
But what would be other good places? I know you want to bring more of these to the area. So if there's somebody watching that may have a space, or know someone that might be interested, what is a good kind of connection for you or space that might be a good way to get more of these started?
Well, I have been approached by like some folks in the mental health industry, so counseling centers, and I think I'm going to be meeting with one tomorrow afternoon about my service with them, and they're a mental health agency, but they do more holistic approach to mental health. And then I think that another good place is places like churches, places where people do gather to, whether it be a spiritual based place or a mental health place, or just a place where people gather. Honestly, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything special.
Right.
It's just a couple of hours of time, and enough room for people to sit and be comfortable and be able to write, and feel safe where they are. And that's really, I don't know about community centers or places like that. I do meet in a place in Pittsburgh that is an art gallery place.
Okay.
So they're art minded there. So bringing in a creative grief writing workshop was appropriate for them. So
that's great. Awesome. So for anybody listening that may know of a good place where people gather, or that might be willing to offer this to their visitors or those that attend any programs, please, you can reach out to me or Dori, and we'll get her contact information to you here in just a few minutes. So the workshop at Wake Tech, give us some details about that. When is that? Price, all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, the Wake Tech, I believe it's called the Workforce part of their website.
Okay.
Workforce Continuing Education. And the course is going to be offered there at the Beltline Education Center, which is different than the main campus.
So that's the one that's right off of 440 then, that's newer? Is that the one?
I'm not sure.
I think if it's a Beltline Center, I think that's the one it's brand new. It's
okay.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, it's fine. It's in Raleigh, and it's I believe it's close to Wake Forest Road up that way.
Okay.
I think I'm not 100% sure. But
Okay.
The Beltline Education Center, and that address and all of that is on the Wake Tech website.
Sure.
And it's going to begin on September 10th, a Tuesday, and then the following 2 Tuesdays. So it'll be 3 Tuesdays in a row: September 10th, 17th, and 24th. And it starts at 6:30 and goes to 8:30.
Okay.
And you register, if you would like to register, you just go to waketech.edu and then our edu, and you go to programs and courses, and then click on non-credit programs, and then search in there for Grieve the Write Way. You just put in the search piece, and then the course will pop up. And it is a $55 course.
Okay.
And I believe all of the registration can be just done online, and I believe there's room for 8 people in the course. So
So
it's
be
not
very
too big.
small and intimate, which I
Right.
think is better for if someone didn't
Right.
feel comfortable to share, or
Right.
you're not going to be as intimidated as if you're a group of 50 people or something trying to do
Right,
this.
and it's easier to help and just it's easier for people to read if they want to share.
Mm-hmm.
It gives enough people time to be able to share, because sometimes you get groups that everybody wants to share. And then you can't really move on because I'm not going to stop anybody from sharing. We just need to talk sometimes. But a smaller group like that is definitely a lot more conducive to support as well, not just
Okay.
writing part.
And you said that the program lasts about 2 hours, is that right?
Right, from 6:30 to 8:30.
6:30 to 8:30, and the $55 covers all 3
Yes.
Tuesdays?
Yes, and they're all 3 different nights, so there are different exercises each night. They're not the same exact thing every time, and so if you for some reason had to miss one, you're not going to be coming back into the same thing. It's not going to be a repeat, so there'll be different ones each
Okay,
time.
that was my next question, is if you sign up, do you have to, I mean, I'm sure it's highly encouraged to attend all 3 to get the different aspects of it, but that if, you're not going to go send a search party.
No, I'm not going to search party. You want to go through the 3 nights.
Absolutely.
And have a full experience. Sometimes people just like having the one. I do the one night or the one evening programs for a couple hours, and people find great benefit from that. But I think that if you're going to do the full course, just do the full course, and a lot will come from it.
Great. And so if somebody I always like to think of reasons why someone, that maybe we're kind of interested but wouldn't sign up for it. What if someone's hesitation is that, well, what if I get in there and I start writing and I just have like this emotional breakdown? I think that would be something that would be completely normal and almost, potentially expected in that situation, just given that you're working through some of these things. So can you speak to that? Like, what advice would you give for someone that might be their fear or hesitation in writing all this down?
Well, I think that all of us, no matter what kind of grief that we're facing, whether it be death or divorce or something else, major life change that challenges us, is that you need to face your fear, and that you should not let fear be the reason why you don't do something. There's a lot of other good reasons why to do things or not do things, and fear should not be the reason why. And so I encourage anybody to go ahead and just face that fear, and come and see. And if it doesn't work for you, if it's not for you, that's okay too. There is no roadmap. And no real right or wrong way to grieve losses. So this is just one way to do it. And if you find it overwhelming, too overwhelming to do, then you're certainly free to find another way to do it. And so it's not. I just would say, just not let fear make decisions for you.
Sure.
That could potentially help you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to, I always like to say, if you're feeling, you're healing, but you've got to allow yourself to feel, the good feelings are great, but you got to allow yourself to feel those bad ones too, to be able to move from them, or move, forward, to learn from them, to process it, and to be a healthier, stronger version of you. So I just love what you're doing. So thank you for trying to bring this to our area. So if people are interested in this, but they want to reach out to you, or they potentially have a spot that they'd like to try to bring this program to, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Okay, I have, my email address is Dori, Dori Ann Dupre, Dupre @gmail.com. And I do also have a website. It's www.Dori, Ann Dupre, Dupre.com. And on that website has other things on it, but if you look up Grieve the Write Way, and there's also a contact form on my website. Those are the best ways to reach me, to reach out.
Awesome, though. Well, I appreciate you joining us this evening to help spread the word about grieving the right way and giving people another option. Of course, if you watch this and maybe didn't catch that information, you are more than welcome to reach out to us here at New Direction, and we will get you in contact with Dori. And you can do that via Facebook, our website, calling in, whatever the case may be. Reach out to us, we'll respond and do our best to get you in contact. So again, thank you so much. I'm not going to take up any more of your time, and thank you guys for tuning in for this month, and we will catch you next month for Family Law in Court. Have a good night.